We're at the home stretch of the program now. Let's get some tips on possible solutions to the problem. Mr. Jiti Ogunye, from what the senior advocate said there, there's been some apologies on some of the stories on what some is reported to have been said by a group of Mietiala about some cows being killed, and in retaliation, that story has been debunked and apologies being made by some media organization. So it does look like that story is not correct about what you read. So in looking for the solution now, what would you advise the president? Because 86 people is what we saw the last time. We should not wait for another round of killings before we move fast. If you are to move fast, if you are the president, if I put you on that spot now, what would you do urgently tonight?
What I would do is I'll look at my security arrangement in the country, including the issue of the retention of the security chief. I've said that I will not be prescriptive. He's the one that assembled his team, so he's going to be responsible ultimately for the kind of team he's assembled and the choices he's made. But this has implications for the Nigerian people, for their lives and property, and for national cohesion, and for political survival of Nigeria. So if I were the president, I will look at that security arrangement as a first step to ensure that we rejig it and that we'll do it to prevent more loss of lives. Second, we also look at the politics of this. Yes, the president, like before, went to Jos and all that to commiserate, to talk to people and all that. The politics of allowing herdsmen to be on the prowl all over the country, I've said that this is antediluvian. This is prehistory. The adjective I'm using are deliberately used. We need to embrace modernity and encourage that. So
probably need a policy.
Ranches, a policy issue. You can't be talking about an international cattle grazing route from Senegal to Central African Republic in the 21st century. Look, there was a time Nigerians were going to Mecca through the Sahara 3 years before they would come back on horses. So why are we not talking about the sanctity of that route now in this modern era? So you need to embrace modernity. And lastly, I think that because of the tension in the country, the president's ministers, in particular the defense minister, will have to be very circumspect in saying certain things. Telling state governors to scrap anti-grazing law and things like that don't help. It indeed gives the impression that sides are being taken and that, people cannot act patriotically in defense of all Nigerians because they are from certain part of the country. And I think that that's what the Learned Senior Advocate of Nigeria was alluding to when he was talking about, national balance in the choice of people who constitute the security.
Let me allow Mr. Chief Ozekome to give us his final word. Just in 20 seconds, Chief Ozekome. Where do we go from here in 20 seconds so that we can close?
Yes. Where we go from here is that the entire the nation is living a lie about itself. There is the need, immediate need, there's no question about that, for restructuring. We need to have state police and community policing. The governor of Taraba State, Derusi Shaku, wrote more than 6 letters to the security office chiefs, crying that his people were being killed on a daily basis. A man who has the mandate of his people. He couldn't do anything because of Section 215, subsection 4 of the Constitution, which gives the power eventually to the Inspector General of Police at the center and the President at the center. The same with Governor Autumn of Benue State. Now, Governor Lalong of Plateau State is also crying. There's a need for Mr. President to look at the recommendations, over 600 of the 2014 National Conference,
Chief, we need to
which
go now.
I was a part.
Let me allow the professional here. Chief, you are the professional policeman. Sure, we have 30 seconds to close now. Urgency is a matter on the table now. What do you think should be done if you advise your former colleague, IGP, on what should be done right about now?
Not even the IGP. Capacity building for the police. The police must have 21st century equipment to work with.
To fight 21st century crimes.
Yeah, to fight 21st century crime. And I gave you that illustration of the United States. So that's number one. No, and to get this, the police trust fund, let the National Assembly in 1 month pass it and let the president pass it into law.
I guess the necessary people have heard tonight on where to go and how to go about it. I must sincerely thank the resource of my panel tonight on the program. Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Chief Michael Zekome from our Abuja studio, Mr. Samuel Adetuyi, of former Commissioner of Police, a lawyer also, and Mr. Jiti Ogunye, a lawyer and a regular analyst on Channels Television. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your thoughts tonight and your research that you brought on the table. That's our show for today, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Shion Kimbale. Bye-bye.